Hi, this is going to be a discussion on some stuff from the integral theory from coming from Ken Wilber's explanation of basically what he covers in relation to Enlightenment, or what the spiritual path is, sort of thing. And essentially it'll be covering four things that are sort of stated as essential in that practice, and that is the practice of waking up, growing up, showing up, and cleaning up, which is sort of how he explains it. And so that'll involve, and I'm just going to briefly go over the explanation of the theory behind that with some practical sort of aspects to it. And so that involves what are states of consciousness, what are stages of development, what are faces or perspectives of God, and also what is the shadow, what are shadow elements. So yeah, basically I'll just get into it. Firstly, there is the process of waking up, which involves states of consciousness, different states that exist. And these are pre-given states that exist in all human beings or all sentient beings. And essentially there's 5 different states, and they are waking, dreaming, deep sleep, witnessing, and then non-dual. So I'll just go through what those 5 states are and what characterizes each one of them. How this is understood is that although we have these states present all the time, or actually 2 of them are ever present and other ones are entered to in different states. Obviously at night when you sleep you enter into the dream state and then can enter into the deep dream state, but through the practice of meditation these states can be entered consciously, and then this quickens growth through stages of development, and one goes through a type of process through the meditative process, moves through these different states and sort of begins to embody them in a permanent basis, sort of thing. So essentially the first is just the waking state, and that relates to the gross realm that we see around us. And in the waking state there's a type of fusion that exists. This is in terms of before meditation or something like that. There's a fusion between the self and the objects like thought and stuff like that. So prior to a meditation, one has the idea like I am my thoughts or something like that. So there's a type of fusion that exists there in the waking state, just in that baseline. And then moving up into the dreaming state, that's the area of the subtle realm itself. And so a typical subtle type meditation is something that involves form or something like that. So meditation with form, and that could involve something like a mantra repetition while focusing on a form of God and a type of deity mysticism, a form of God, and then relating through different feelings and stuff like that in the actual subtle energy realm itself. So it also involves phenomena like Kundalini energy that works through the spine and around the body, the energy system and the currents around the body, which is understood through things like pranayama, and also not Tai Chi but Qigong and stuff like that as well. Energy flow within the body is all subtle energy, and that's associated with this altered state of consciousness that can be entered, called the dreaming state or the subtle realm. So then moving upwards into the deep dream state, that is known as the causal realm itself, and that's a type of formless mysticism. So that involves meditation on God or the Absolute in a type of formlessness or formless awareness. And the kind of feeling of what that state is a type of a type of expansiveness that exists. So if you were to experience that state right now, you could just check with it. It's the feeling that you have of the type of expansiveness of the universe itself within you. If you can kind of sense that ever expandingness of the universe, that's what the deep dream or causal state is actually like. So that can be entered in through meditation with types of formless meditation and stuff like that. And yeah, basically then the next state is the first of the states that are ever present, and that state is called the pure witness, the witnessing state. And basically that is the the sense of the self that is always present outside of all the other characteristics that, say, we would normally designate as our self. So if you were to ask yourself, like, who you are, like, who is myself, and then look at yourself, you could have certain designations, like I work at this job, or I have these family members, or I like these things, sort of thing. And that's all one type of self, but there's another self that if you just look at yourself, there's a timeless self that exists in there, that's actually present, that wasn't just present now, but was also present in the past. Through all the activities that you were doing, there was a self that was present through all of them, and there is a self that will be present through all your future activities as well. So that's one that can be observed, and that's the pure witnessing state itself, which is a type of yeah, so that's like a witnessing state. It's I amness, so that's the I am awareness type of thing. So it's in the self and it's an awareness, and then that's an ever-present state. The fifth state is the non-dual state, and that's also known as Turiya Tita, and basically that can be experienced if you, say, you get into your pure witness state, your sense of self that is actually the eternal timeless self, and then you choose an object just in front of you or maybe at a distance, and then basically you absorb yourself in the object so that all that actually exists is the object itself. And in that, the subject and the object, the fact that I am witnessing this object, disappears into all that exists is this. So it's like understanding of the nature of reality through the breaking down of the subject and the object. So that's also an ever-present state. So all of those states can be accessed through different meditation techniques, and basically with the process of meditation or working with different states that exist out of those states that we all have access to, you move through certain meditative stages. There are meditative stages that a person will gradually go through, and essentially that's known as there's a purgation, and then an illumination, then dark night, and then finally unification. So they're basically known as the stages that are gone through state experiences.